This is the Andres Segovia Show.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Andres Segovia Show. I'm excited to have back on the program Shana Leigh. You were my first personal trainer. Shana, welcome back to the program. How you doing?
Thank you, Andres. I am doing amazing. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, it's been a while since our last gig, and I must say, since not just me training with you, and since our interview, you've gone on to have an impact on people that are very close to me, like my sister and my wife, that eventually did train with you on some like these challenges that you made. And my sister, my goodness, her transformation was amazing. My wife's transformation was amazing too. Just that we also had a baby thereafter, so it's like rewind and start over. But she looks great. So,
yes, your wife always looks fabulous. She is goals. I don't have kids yet, so she is goals for when I have 3 children. 3? We're up to 3 now.
Four
right?
now we're up to 4 now.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I know.
Well, four. So even more kudos to her. Like, she looks fantastic. Obviously takes amazing care of herself. So she is goals.
Yeah, I tell her it's not fair. I see the gaining process during the pregnancy, and then the slimming process is even faster than the gaining. I'm like, okay, so that doesn't work with guys. It's like you're not doing anything, but it's amazing. What they say that the best thing for a new mother is to breastfeed, and it's amazing to see that calorie burn, because I'm like, wow, you slim so quick. I think she slimmed quicker this time than she did last time. It's amazing.
Yep. It happens that way. Yes, it really does help. Well, I mean, obviously it helps the baby, the mom, but it does. Breastfeeding does burn a lot of calories. So but she's fabulous. Nicole, you're doing great, girl.
Because my sister-in-law, she had her 6th child 1 week after we had ours. 6. And every time in pictures, I'm like, and not because her kids are bigger, I'm like, are you sure that's not your sister? I mean, of course I know, because they're my nieces and nephews, but it's just, she looks fabulous too. And supposedly, oh, you age faster when you have more kids. She's got 6, and she looks great too.
Some people just have those good genetics. I hope I have them. We'll find out later.
We will find out. Yes. It's interesting to see that next part of your journey. And the last time we talked, we talked a little tease before we fired up the camera. Your last MMA bout, and you had talked that you were going to eventually train and get back to a next fight, but it's been about 3 years now. How's that going for you?
Well, I think when we had our last interview, that was pre-COVID, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, pre-COVID.
So my fight was the end of 2019, and then I had to take some months off after, or just wanted to take some months off. It was the holidays, whatever. And then, fast forward, only, what was it, maybe 5 months, I think, to March, like mid-March, and all the COVID stuff started happening. And so the plan was always to get back into training and start, I wanted to fight again in 2020, fairly quickly as possible. You don't want to, at least at my age, I didn't want to have too much time in between, but a lot of things changed, when COVID happened, and, job situation changed, career changed a little bit, and just other things took priority. So sadly, I have not been focusing on that at all, like training for MMA or anything like that, not even as in like a hobby situation at all. Like here and there, I'll like drop in and do some jiu-jitsu or some boxing or something, but nothing consistent. I have just really been focused on my business, and transitioned my whole fitness business to online coaching now. So really that's been the focus and has taken priority the last couple of years. So I do go to the gym and work out and lift weights, obviously stay in shape, but no MMA stuff, and nothing on the horizon anytime soon. Just, like I do it for fun. So it's not a career path for me, MMA. So I'm just in a season with the business right now that, it's going well, and I've got to focus that attention on the business. And it sounds like sad as I say that out loud, but it's really, like the same tenacity, because with MMA, you can't just like go into a fight, like kind of half-assing the training to prepare,
Mhm.
right? It's very much like a full commitment of, you need to be taking it very seriously, because if you go in unprepared, you can get injured
Yeah.
very seriously. So you need to be dedicating, putting in the time, and to really prepare for an MMA fight, you need to be training at least 2 to 3 hours a day, if not more. I mean, various different things. It's not all like going hard in the
Well, yeah.
gym, but it is very time consuming. It is a huge time commitment. Um, and I would say that's the only thing that's like preventing, because I just had to channel that laser focus, that tunnel vision focus into my business to make it
Yeah.
grow. So just taking that same tenacity and focusing it in the business is just the season I'm in currently. But I mean, I still obviously watch the fights, UFC, Bellator, and keep up with all my friends who are still doing it. I'm still definitely a huge fan of the sport, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And as a small business owner myself, I totally understand what that feels like. Because as I tell people, especially for those of us in Southern California that are property owners or engaged in construction, and how the economy has really, really impacted in so many different ways, just the business overall, at industry wide. It's like it's an infant baby that needs attention all the time, and then sometimes they're okay, now we got to change an entire approach just because we can't use this material, this product's not available, these projects that took 3 to 4 weeks are now taking 8 weeks to finish. It's like everything's changing. There's always that kind of attention, especially after the, I guess, 2020. It's just been absolutely insane. And now with 2022, with inflation, having the same item that cost maybe $4. Watching lumber go from $4 to $40 within the span of weeks was absolutely insane. Getting letters from our from our
Right?
um our suppliers like every 2 weeks telling us of price changes and increases, like, oh my goodness. And then eventually employees telling us, like, hey man, um inflation's really outpacing the pay. Is there anything we can do here? It's like, I, we'll see what we can. And
Yeah.
it comes up on it. So it is crazy. But I am glad I've seen how much work you put into the business, and that's kind of what I assumed what was going to probably distract or consume your time from being able to dedicate something that, like you said, it's a hobby, something you love doing. You got to do it. It was exhilarating. It was a judge's decision. That's where basically it came down to the wire. You walked away with a broken nose too. It's like, so there's still those battle scars and all that.
Yeah.
But you got to experience it all. It's like, almost won, but there'll always be the itch. I could win the next one. But then there's just like, yeah, but you still need to make a living.
Right.
Yeah, because you're an independent woman, and you got to make ends meet. And in Southern California, where it's not cheap, and when you're training, you gotta eat, and eating clean. While it can be cheaper if you do like the Costco runs, putting in the cooking is exhausting. Because
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time. Do you still do you have a balance now of meal prepping, and then also have a meal prep company to do it, or have you gone all in, like, let's say a meal prep provider?
Honestly, I've been meal prepping for so many years that it doesn't take that much time. I've kind of nailed down my little routine with it. So most of the time I'm doing my own meal prep. There is a company that I order meals from occasionally. I like to keep them on hand. Icon Meals, by the way. Just plug. They're fantastic. They freeze well. It's definitely convenient to have a meal prep company delivering your already cooked meals that are perfectly balanced to you. But there's nothing like, I'm one of those snobs that I like prefer my own cooking over restaurant food. I'm like, but my cooking is not that fabulous. I'm just saying that it's I'm just saying, like, I'm like, because I think it's more about like the way that I feel when I cook my own food and eat my own food. Like
Mhm.
Icon is so fantastic. They're probably one of the more less ingredient filled
Yes.
companies. So yeah, I don't know. It depends on the week. Some weeks I'll order, but most of the time I just do it myself.
Yeah,
So
and then touching on like meal prep companies, because for those that are tuning in, you guys have seen me plug in some meal prep companies. I don't have a loyalty to just one. I do like supporting local wherever possible. Now,
mhm.
technically, Icon Meals isn't local; they're based out in Texas. I think it's Dallas,
Yeah.
but like you said, the freezing, they do it so well. It's as if you just took it out of the freezer when you get it. It's like, oh snap, man! And
Yeah.
like you said, it's a very, very few ingredients. They're as clean as possible. And I find that genius because for those that want to like that, there it is. But if you want to add your own little seasoning or flavor, you can. It kind of defeats the purpose for buying the flavored stuff from them. But the point is, you can, and I do like that when it comes to local meal prep companies in North Orange County. There's been two that I've used before. One is called Healthy Helpings Meal Prep. They're located near Cal State Fullerton, and the other one is further out, uh, Fullerton Buena Park. For those that know, and oh my goodness, I gotta say this one right. Oh my goodness, I hate myself for it. I just blanked out on their name. Snap. I hope it comes back to me before I wrap up. But they have what they call chef inspired meals, and they have this incredible chia bar. OSM meals. There we go. OSM meals, and some of these places do deliver. I even had another one. I think we both had this one. Lean meals. I think it's lean greens. Oh my goodness, they were out
Mm.
on the Santa Ana. I
There's
think
a
I'm
Healthy and Fresh. I think it's called Healthy and Fresh. That's a Santa Ana. Yeah, Healthy and Fresh meal prep.
okay.
They are
So
very
the
good out of Santa Ana.
lean,
Very good. I mean, I would honestly probably order them if I was able to freeze the meals. So I like Icon because healthy, balanced, all of that, but they're vacuum sealed. So I can
yes,
order 20 or 30 of them, throw them in the freezer, and use them as I go. And when I pop them out in the microwave, they still taste pretty fresh. So with other companies, they're delivered like in the hard top containers.
yeah,
They don't freeze well.
that's true. And
But I
they
do
only have
love
like
the local stuff, if I was gonna just eat it as I went. But
yeah,
Icon, because I do like doing my own meal prep, sometimes I like to just throw a bunch in the freezer and just have them on hand. Yeah,
yeah, and that's true because some of these have a shelf life of 3 days if it's seafood, at most
right.
5 days
It's
if it's
organic and all of that,
chicken or
you know?
beef, and after that, it's like toss them. That's the one downside to if you're gonna put the money in to have it, you gotta eat it, and that's one of the main conveniences I have for Icon. So look at that, we just plugged in Icon and we made like a infomercial for them for like 3 minutes.
Change it for, I think it's 20% off.
Yes, I know. Hey, I'll even put that link on the show notes to accompany this episode at www.thingsgover.com. So, hey, there you go. That's a little bit of favor for anybody's interested in checking out Icon Meals. I'll put Shana's link there, and you'll be supporting a great trainer. Now, in keeping I guess the theme with nutrition, we're we were trashing cauliflower before we got this going, and
Yes.
there's this. I saw a meme. This was very interesting. There's another influencer. She's eventually going to come on my program. We've been trying to work out a schedule to make this happen. She has been basically living, I guess the expression is the van life, where they kind of move around in different places, live in different uh, parks or campsites and things like that. Like this super long trek, thousands of miles, but just stopping and living for a time in different places. So, but it's outdoors. In other words, just enjoying the great outdoors. I love this meme she put up because it was the ingredients of her steak is a cow. The ingredients for Beyond Meat or the Impossible was this laundry list of stuff.
Right.
And we're led to believe that this is the healthier stuff versus steak. I was gonna joke asking you, hey, which is the best diet fad that you're gonna plug in, Shana? Because this stuff we don't believe in. We don't believe in the yo-yo diets or the latest thing.
Liver
And
cleanses and things.
Yeah, because like right now with all this craze and trying to make everybody switch to Impossible or switch to Beyond Meat, which I actually do like Beyond Meat. Don't get me
It
wrong.
tastes good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a vegan joint, the only vegan joint that I actually crave. But I'm like, yeah, but not only does it not have enough protein, there's a lot more ingredients in that patty than I'm comfortable with. And so I'll just go over and have my prime cut, whatever, So,
Yeah.
but are you going to be pitching any insect protein anytime soon?
No. We live in America. We don't have to eat bugs, so we're not going to.
But they're trying to make us. They're saying it's good for us. Nicole Kidman was eating like these mealworms or whatever for.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, they're saying like, oh, people in other countries, they eat bugs and that's their primary source of blah, blah. And I said, I'm thinking like, yeah, because they have to.
Yeah.
If they had the option to eat, a fillet or even a chicken breast or insects, what do you think they're going to choose if they're presented with the option?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But for some people, because like, it's conspiracy, the World Economic Forum is trying to make us eat all this. Like, look, they're already selling it at the grocery shelves. I even had to fact check some of these places because hey, they're even on my political side. But I had to fact check them. I tell them it's like, if you've been to a vitamin shop anytime in the last several years, you would have found these there. They've been there. It's nothing new. They're just trying to make it more commercialized.
This is not anything new. It's just like the new shocking thing in the news right now. It's not like an actual new thing. It's just like the shock factor of the week.
Yeah, like there was a time that broccoli was good for you, then it was bad for you, and it was good for you. I think right now it's good for you again because they always say like, "Oh yeah, stay away from this, stay away from that." Because I was listening to one of my favorite shows, the only favorite show I tune into the morning, Laura Crowder on YouTube, and the members only section. They were talking about a certain thing. And doing some juicing and having like green shakes and all that. When I don't have enough greens, I have a green shake. Like, dude, I didn't have enough greens today. I have to have my green shake. It's normally I try to make it more primarily spinach than it is kale. Maybe some ginger in there. It's
It's
the
good.
point. I try to have my greens, and I supplement that way with an actual shake, not just the powder stuff. But there's some people that are sticking more to that, and in the case of kale, not if they have too much of it, you get thyroid problems. And some people
Wow.
didn't notice this, because like, oh yeah, no, kale is a thing. Well, that's why I don't push kale as much because like everybody that was digging up on kale because the latest fad, next thing they know it, they were having oh my goodness, what's that thing called? Thyroid something. I don't know if it was hyperthyroid like that. It was like swelling on them because the thyroid just couldn't process it or was just too much. There's something in the kale. That's one of the main reasons why I kind of stayed away from having too much of it because I don't know how much is too much or too little. But that's what I mean. Like, some people are guided by this. What does that do to someone like you? Because you post, and this it shocks people. You post, you can eat carbs. You can eat your favorite foods. When you're training them, you're telling them you don't have to say bye to these things. How do you
Right.
communicate that? How do you convince them?
Well, I think that most people want to just eat things that are not considered traditionally healthy, right? They're like,
Mhm.
because it tastes good, like if it's Reese's peanut butter cups, I always use that as like an example because that's something I like to eat. And I do, maybe not every day, but definitely every week. Um, and basically, I just actually got off a call with a lady a few minutes ago and she's struggling with her nutrition and she's like, I try to eat really healthy and organic and I eat keto bread because it's low carb and blah blah. And I'm like, and I say blah blah because I'm not a huge keto diet fan. Well, I'm not a keto fan at all. I think it's such a scam and
It's not sustainable.
it's not the best thing for most people. There are some people out there that keto works for, but for the most majority of the population, keto is going to be very difficult to lose weight, lose body fat specifically on,
Mm.
which is why people go on these trendy diets anyway. But um, I just talked to this lady and she's like, I'm eating healthy and I'm doing all these things. And I was like, hey, she's telling me how she was craving food at nighttime. And I said, listen, here's what we're going to do with your nutrition. So starting next week, I'm going to assign you to have your largest meal at the end of the day, right before you go to bed. Because if that's the time when you're mostly craving more food, then we're going to give you more food at that time. And if you always need like a sweet treat or some kind of dessert to follow up a meal, then we're going to factor that into your plan every day. So it'll help you to have something like that to look forward to at the end of your day every day, because you already like to kind of live that way. Like if you notice that you're always craving more food at night, then let's move your biggest meal to the evening. So that if that's something you can do consistently, because whatever you can do consistently is what I want you to do, So, and she liked to have dessert. I said, well, let's factor that in. So I'm going to give you a huge dinner and a dessert to follow it up. So during the daytime, you're working, you're busy, you're doing things. If you come across, the cookies that your coworker brought in the break room and you're tempted, you can say, no, because I'm going to have my huge dinner, steak and potatoes and mixed vegetables, whatever, and I have a cupcake, or I have, Reese's peanut butter cups, or, whatever, chocolate chip cookies, or whatever your go-to dessert is, it's gonna cause you to like think twice about just mindlessly snacking through the day. Like you can have it all, you just can't have it all at once, but you can absolutely have it all, just not all at the same time. And so it'll give you something to look forward to. So you'll be like, no, I really don't need the chocolate chip cookies that the coworker brought in the break room on lunch break today. I'll wait because I know I'm going to have my, my carrot cake for dessert, which I really, really love, And so,
instead of empty calories.
Yeah. It's just, it becomes more of a lifestyle. And I shared with her, like, that's what I do. I have a huge meal at dinner time because that's when I feel the most hungriest. During the daytime, kind of, I can like have a late breakfast. I can have a late lunch even. But at nighttime, when I get home, that's when I'm like really hungry. I just want to have a big meal, be really satisfied, have a little, dessert, whatever, and then pass out and go to sleep. And to me, that's fun. I enjoy that. And so it's important to me to have a huge meal at nighttime because I like to eat like that before bed.
And the predominant theory is, oh no, you shouldn't be having any food after 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever it is now. I don't know where that science is right now, but folks, I could tell you that if Shana is eating those big meals, she's constantly putting up pictures. Something's working for her. She's not getting fat, and that's just it. That it's not a one size fits all. When people read these things or they look up on Google because they want to turn to Google for, whatever, it's like, hey Google, what should I do today? It's like you don't go to Google to tell you what to do. You want to do some research, do a thorough research, go beyond the headline. A lot of these are clickbait articles. There is no cheating to get you to your goal. You got to put in the work. So stuff that you discovered along the way. You actually made a recent what I consider a vulnerable post. I think you even said as much because for people that don't know, and I think I might have covered this in our first interview, that you were it wasn't a fitness model. Would you label it more like a runway model? That you did some modeling before you did like nutrition and training like that?
Oh yeah, it was definitely fitness modeling, definitely not runway.
What I mean by that is it wasn't you weren't doing a fitness lifestyle yet. It was because you had to look good for a period, and after that's like, okay, it's done with. And then you did a post. I don't know if that was.
Are you talking about? Yeah, I was doing fitness competitions.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
that's
fitness competitions. Like, gosh, probably 10 years ago. Now, the post that you're referring to was probably about, I think, 10 years ago. Actually, it was 2012. I think on the picture, I actually have 2012 and 2022, and I remember thinking, wow, I can't believe it's been 10 years already. But
I know, crazy.
But yeah, it was. I was competing in fitness competitions in the bikini division, and that time I had a coach, and they put me on like a low carb diet, and only eat these clean foods and don't eat anything else because you'll get fat and da da da. And so they taught me how to diet and lean down, but didn't teach me what to do after the diet. And literally, this is what I coach my clients on now, is like, yes, we all know that if we're, looking to make a lifestyle change and you want to lose weight, we know we got to eat healthy. We know we got to work out. We know we have to go into a calorie deficit to some degree, not an extreme one, but it has to be in a deficit, right? Which just means that we're burning more energy than we're eating, because calories are just energy. And we need to be burning more than we're eating. So that's what's going to help us to lose weight. And so we all know that we need to do that, right? We all know that we need to go on I hate using this word, diet, right? But I like to refer to it as like a cutting plan. You're going on a cutting plan, but then we follow up the cutting plan with it's actually called a reverse diet. So you go on a diet, and then after the diet, say you hit your weight loss goal, you finally got there, whatever, or maybe you hit a plateau and your body is just not losing any more pounds. You're not losing any more body fat. So what do you do? Well, then you have to go into a reverse diet. And it's exactly what it sounds like, is we're slowly adding in calories now. And with that, there does come some weight gain, but the whole purpose of it is for it to be controlled, right? Because even when you go and you do a fitness competition, which is very extreme type of dieting, because you have to get so lean, at a certain point, you have to get pretty aggressive on the calories that you're cutting sometimes. And you have to follow it up with a plan. You can't just like, oh, I'm done with my diet. Now I'm just going to go eat whatever, and I'm just going to live my life again. Like, it has to be just as strategic as it was to get there, to reverse the process, which means that when you reverse diet, you are slowly adding in calories to help your body to continue to get the maximum amount of results, eating the maximum amount of food, right? So we want those things to balance. And when someone's been dieting for a long time, it can be challenging at first, but the reverse diet is where it's at, and that's, I feel like I'm just going on a tangent here, but basically,
but it's true.
I had to learn how to reverse diet the hard way. It took some years and a lot of trial and error, but when I finally figured it out, I was like, it makes so much sense, because
it's what someone was referred to as bulk and cut, quite literally. Because some are cutting, and then like, well, I want to bulk now. And when you bulk, you are gonna get fat. There's some fat that comes with it, and then it's like, all right, now that I got the muscle I want, I'm not gonna cut again. So it's like, some people don't get out of that.
But I would even argue that the reverse diet is not even considered a bulk, right? Because we diet down and then we're reverse dieting. But the goal is to, you're not trying to bulk up, right? But we are slowly increasing calories. And with that is going to come some weight gain. You increase the calories a little bit, maybe the weight comes up a little bit. You increase the calories, the weight comes up a little bit. And it's very subtle, and it's very controlled, and it's very like dialed in. It's not just what you would think of in a traditional bulk. Like, oh, I'm just going to eat whatever I want because I'm trying to put on muscle. And like, you don't have to put on a lot of body fat to be able to develop muscle. You don't have to. You can. That's the harder way, because then you have to do the cutting again, right? And
exactly.
Body fat again. But would you rather do a reverse diet and maybe, you gain 5 pounds of muscle and 5 pounds of fat, versus you gain 5 pounds of muscle and 20 pounds of fat? So like, that's, to me, the difference between a reverse diet versus a bulk. Like, just a crazy, like, bulk is not necessarily like specific, I don't know.
Yeah, correct. And it is.
Would argue with me on that, but
no, but it definitely is a difference in how men and women can definitely go about it. Because I know that in my case, when I finally entered bulking in a way, I was getting bigger, stronger, losing body fat along the way. The problems came when the injuries came, because then when
Mhm.
you're in the bulking phase, you gotta somehow trick your body back into a fat burn, and you can't if you can't get off one train to the other fast enough, you're kind of in the lull, and then you just end up getting stuck on one, and that's what happens to a lot of dudes where we got stuck on one. And in my case, it was repeated injuries over and over again. Like, I'm not where I want to be. And I got a lot of setbacks this year. And I haven't given up. It's just like, well, that's what I said when I lost all my weight that I needed to lose to then start training, starting with you. And you were the foundation of everything. The principles that you taught me, um, the discomfort that I had, because first off, my discomfort entirely was I'm not used to going to a public place and being able to lift. And not just that, I'm not even sure I even got this personal with you. But I might tell this story for those on locals, and we're running up on time, but I'm gonna just summarize this, where I had a hormonal imbalance. I was at a time on hormone therapy because my estrogen level was way too high and my testosterone was very, very low. And when hormone therapy didn't pan out, eventually I did get my breast removed. So when that happened, it caused a lot of stress for me. So my doctor, who my cousin, told me that, hey, look, I might have done my part, but if you don't fix your weight problem later on down the road, they're gonna come back. But this time, it's on you to lose them if you have a problem with an image of a dude having breasts. So when they did come back, because I was ballooning, when I was losing weight, I even told my wife, like, you're gonna find out why I didn't mind being fat, because I was able to wear baggy clothes and hide it. So then that was like this area was like the last area to be able to lose fat in. So I had my issues. I didn't want to train with a woman, and I didn't want to really train anywhere. But I'm like, no, I'm doing this. I already lost the weight, 80 pounds off, and then I needed to get into being able to, start making the muscle to start shedding the fat, everything else that I had to get rid of. Cause I did the weight loss first and then do the fitness afterwards. And you helped me literally shed off I guess, the fear of it, because hey, guys don't like to be trained by girls, especially when they're attractive and they can kick your butt. So then, like, I don't want to be trained by someone that looks like she could kill me. So when I got over that, and after all these years, to still be able to talk to you, have a friendship with you, and the impact that you made on my family's life, it's like, thank you, God, that this Kansas replacement that ended up here was the tool that you use to have our paths cross, and I be able to go on this fitness adventure. And I always said fitness is the rest of my journey. The weight loss was one part. The rest of my life, it's not just, oh, by this date I'm done. No, I just knew in my mind it's forever. There'll be ups and downs, but it's
Yeah.
the journey that I'm along for, and I'm always looking forward to it. And because I know we're up on time, I'm going to give you the last word, but I also would like for you to plug in where people can follow you, because you're primarily focused on women now, which good on you. But it's for anybody that's interested, where will they be able to learn more about Shana?
Yeah, I spend most of my social media time on Instagram at Shana Leigh Fit, hence the name here. Oh, this side.
Yes, right there.
But Facebook, of course, Shana Leigh, and then I have a website, shanaleigfitness.com, for more information about kind of what I do, who I work with, things I've done. But I'm on YouTube. I'm kind of a little bit everywhere, but primarily Instagram is probably my main platform.
Mm-hmm. And you did say that you moved it to basically an online coaching thing, but if there were people out there that wanted to train one-on-one with you, say at a gym, is that still an option to them?
I do have a studio located over here in Orange County, across the street from John Wayne Airport. It's just a private, like, small one-on-one studio. But I only take on 4 in-person clients at a time. So currently I don't have any openings, but if they are interested in that, then yes, you can still contact me. And we can get you on a wait list or something like that if something opens up. But
Yeah, listen to that. That's how popular she is, folks. You have to get on a wait list. Awesome. Well, don't hang up yet, but we're going to wrap it here. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I'll always have you on again. And by the way, folks, this does debut on Halloween. So don't wait until in January 1st that you want to think about it like, oh, the holidays are coming up. No, you want to be ready for the holidays. And I know that Shana can help you along the way to be able to enjoy the holidays. All right, everybody. Thank you so very much, Shana. Good to have you on. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andres.